Good morning. Hello. Welcome. This is Two Wisdom. My name is Diane. I almost lost the microphone. I had to redo this video because there was too much noise in it last night. And so hopefully I can recreate those vibes and those feelings that I got last night. Today, first, before I go on, thank you so much. A couple of videos ago, I shared my experience. Well, I had to share this real quick. This is what I just saw. I had to stop the video in front of our place, and I think that was a beaver swimming by. So interesting. That's why I stopped. Anyway, thank you so much for all of your lovely comments. When I shared myself in that video about my journey, and you guys were super kind, and it gave me a really good feeling of validation and support, and it encourages me to keep doing this. And it filled my heart. Thank you so much. And so today I'm going to do the Trump-Biden debate. Will it happen? Won't it happen? I'm going to share with you what I got. And I also wanted to see if that Nigerian trip is going to move the needle at all for our Sussex family, Harry and Meghan. Will they make any new changes, or how will it affect the people who see them? The public's version of them, because I know it's very divisive. We've got the UK public, we've got the palace and their family, and the American public, and I wanted to see how that was going to shift anything, their trip there, and how that felt. And I also looked into the trial, Trump's trial, the hush money campaign finance law fraud trial. So I looked into that, and I'll share those images with you. And then I looked into who would be Trump's VPs. I went through all the guys and women that I thought were possible. And I'll make it a little bit shorter today because I went through it a little bit more thoroughly last night. But yeah, interesting. And I answered a couple viewers' questions. And the first one, actually, let's get going. Right, let's get started. Before I do, thank you for all subscribers, my new viewers, my comments, likes, shares. I know there's some YouTube people that answer questions on a certain day of the week, and I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. And please subscribe, like, do all those YouTubey things. And I also wanted to say, if you guys have ask you if you've seen King Charles' new portrait. As an artist, I love it. I mean, well, even if I wasn't an artist, I think I would love it. I love the color. I love the painterly expression. The artist is Jonathan Yeo, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's done portraits of other big names like David Attenborough and somebody else. I can't remember, several people. And so he took some chances here, but the butterfly, I guess, they discussed it. It might have been Charles' idea or doing something specific for him. And the butterfly implies rebirth, renewal, transformation, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So I think it's great. And also, I think when I looked at it, it looks like a monarch butterfly. So there's a little play on words there. And he is in his regimental colonel in the Welsh Guard. And he was the Prince of Wales for a long time. So since 1975, he's in that uniform, that old uniform. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So I think it captured his face, and I think his personality. So some people are divided about how it looks, but whatever. I think it's great. Also, somebody asked about what card deck I'm using. I think it was Colorful Foresight is the name. This is the deck, and it's Catherine Wells Stein, The Tarot of Mystical Moments. And most of these images are just so lovely, and they're so very unique. A lot of women in these images, which is beautiful. A good friend of mine, Joanna, gave these to me. Oop, upside down. And even the devil is beautiful. Anyway, that's what that is. So Tarot of Mystical Moments by Katrin Wells Stein. All right. So today, I'm going to start off, since I was talking about King Charles's portrait, I'm going to talk about Nigeria and Harry and Meghan. Now, my first impression of when I saw the images, and what I tend to do is I want information about the situation, but I don't want to give myself too much information because I think it will kind of pollute my middle eye. Like I won't be able to see it as clearly because I'll engage some logical thing, and I want to be able to be neutral in how I see that. So I have seen images, and I have I'm just closing this. I have read negative articles, and I've read really positive articles about what they're doing there. My impression, what I did see, was almost like they, when you play dress up as a kid, I felt like that's what they were doing. And I know that's aside from all of her different clothing changes. In the past video, a couple videos ago, I suggested that they're using it as a strategy to promote their Archwell Foundation and also to promote her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. So I think some of that is incorporated, and Nigeria is using them also. Nigeria and the socialites, or the higher class there, not so much the regular mom and the regular Joes there. I think it's the higher level, the people who are running the country, who are not destitute. And, I don't know if they really wanted them there. I think it was more of the upper echelon people in Nigeria that were promoting their visit. And I feel like they wanted to show off. Nigeria wanted to have them come in so they can show off their country, which, most countries want to do that in some degree. But for some reason, I felt like it's not authentic. I felt like it was kind of corrupt in a way, or put on an act, I guess is the word I can think of, or words. So it didn't feel great. I felt like there was a mixed bag in some ways, shape, or form, because I'm sure there was some good visits and they did some nice things, but I felt like Harry's speech that I did hear, that was like soggy word salad. It made no sense. And I know he was talking about mental health, but I think if you're actually in the royal family and you're doing this, being supported by the palace, they prepare you, they prep you, they give you talking points, and so you're ready. He doesn't have that. I think he's winging it, and she wings it too a lot, but she has this kind of backlog of talking points that she pulls out to use, and they are also not very meaningful. I don't find them saying much. I feel like when she talks, it's a lot of noise, and they're not talking about what they will do or what they can do, or let's work on this, practical choices, practical ways to achieve goals, or in different ways. Even it's almost like Harry talks about, we're listening. Yes, this is difficult. And he shares about mental health and sports, and in how the Invictus Games, which no way, shape, or form am I dissing that. Invictus Games are awesome. Yay. He's doing that fantastically. The project is fantastic. I don't know if it's being ran as well as it could be, but the idea is wonderful. We can all do more for our servicemen and women who have been injured, and, so many things that have happened to them mentally and physically, that anything we can do to support them is good all over the world. So that I'm fine with. Yes. Yay. Good. It's just, I think the way it's ran, or the way it's led, I just think they need help, and I don't know if they want it. I think Meghan is in control of, she's just taking control of a lot of things. Now, I know they're doing their Netflix series, 2 of them, one on her lifestyle brand where she may be cooking, or I don't know what else she's going to talk about on there, but they're going to have a series on Netflix about that. And then he's going to do one on polo, or the social scene, and also the dynamic, sports, energy around it. And I think it's mostly for rich people, but maybe people will watch it. I'm going to hold my opinion on that till later. I'm even willing to hold my opinion on her lifestyle brand Netflix series till later. And, there's people that love them or really can't stand them. There's some in the middle, but I feel like the trip to Nigeria and the trip that Harry took to the UK for the Invictus Games ceremony, or the anniversary and the church service, and his father wouldn't see him, really affected him. I believe that when I pulled cards the other day, I saw him going backwards to his family. I saw that the family, Charles and William, are getting farther away from him. I felt as if we don't know. There's some conversations that they had that we're not aware of. And Charles said that his program was too full. And and somebody said recollections may vary was another thing they brought back up. I think that's what Harry said, but I don't know if that's actually accurate. My sense is that somebody had a conversation and they wanted to do something, and somebody wouldn't give in and didn't want to not talk about something or whatever. So Harry, I think, is taking a step back from trying. I think he's turning around. I could see him turning around towards his own family, Meghan and his children. I feel like he's looking at them, and I think he's more committed now to create a new life with them. I think he was almost trying to start getting back into the royal fold. And, I got the Two of Cups, which is a partnership, a romantic, and Six of Wands, success. So I feel like he's going to return to his family with his wife and his two children. I feel like he's going to be more committed to that because he's sort of got the wall, his hand slapped. It's like, and don't try. He's, so, I mean, like I said, he's going to just stay and work on these two projects and also do more things. And I think he's going to be reignited. That's funny. Reignited in doing some more ideas and create this life outside of the royal. William and Charles are just too focused on, Kate's health and also Charles's health and all the busyness that they have and the thoughts and emotions that come with that they can't deal with Harry right now. And I've said in the past that Harry doesn't understand how what he said and done has impacted them. I don't think he does completely. He may think he does, but I don't think he does. And the other way around too is I don't think they understand what he's going through, even though they don't think he may not be going through anything. But I do think that they're going to, maybe Queen of Wands. Maybe a woman, Queen of Wands. I know Catherine's a Capricorn. Queen of Wands is a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sag. And she's a good leader and she's very creative. Somebody might actually bring them together again one day. So there's hope. But it's kind of waning. I hate to say. Or maybe this isn't the time. Time has to pass a little bit more. Harry has got to stop talking about what one of my commenters said, the horrible family he comes from. And I think he needs to focus on his own and work on those other projects. I think that has to happen before the healing process and let everybody just do what they need to do and stop focusing. The only thing is that if without that name and recognition and his title, what is he? So I think that's what he's doing. He's going to create a life without the name and title. Not that he's going to get rid of it. He's not going to get rid of it. No. But he's going to start working on that. So I think that's really healthy. I think it's healthy. Yeah, I think that's healthy. I see so many negative things just piling on them. And I don't know. I'm saying negative things right now. I know they're not all good about them. But I also understand that, I don't know. I don't want to be that. Call them out and how terrible and everything they are and hideous and on either end. Just humans. I don't know. Only certain people deserve that extreme vile. Go on to the Trump trial. Now, what I saw was I got into the energy of this situation. I'm going to go to the debate too. I'm going to look into that and see if that's actually going to happen. But I could feel when I got into Trump's energy, I'm feeling him at the table in the courtroom. And it's at the time when they are going to announce the decision. And I hear him standing up and the chair, when you have a wooden chair on a wooden floor and you push it out and it goes, like that. That's the feeling. And I see him standing up and he is super irate. He's not happy with the result. But I also saw that Judge Merchan, my lovely dark chocolate backstop, serious but good, and he has to make a decision on what the next steps will be and how he'll be punished or what he deserves for whatever it is. I do think he will be convicted of some of the charges. I don't think all of them. And the image I got was very financial. And I know it's a criminal trial, but there will be some repercussion or some punishment that will be financial. I don't know if it's a fine or something. He has terms that Merchan has to go within. Maybe there's rules in the state and that jurisdiction on what he can and can't do. I think Merchan is going to be very, very careful on how he determines that punishment, which, because he's a presidential candidate, I think he will be convicted, but there'll be I think this is how I feel it's going to go. There will be a restriction. He's not going to get he's not going to go, they've said this, not Rikers Island or anything like that. I think what it's going to be is something like house arrest, where there's people who are house arrest and they go to their job during the day and they have to come home at night kind of thing, or something like that, where they're monitored. That's the vibe. I feel like it's in that lane. Yeah. I feel like that's going to be what's going to happen with him. Jury is very thoughtful. Judge Merchan's very thoughtful. And I think they have to still do their defense. And why do I only think there's one or two witnesses left? So I do think those witnesses will maybe affect the opinion of judge and jury. I think they're going to use that in consideration as they make their decision. He will be guilty, but to a lesser degree. I was looking into all of his VPs and all those guys, I think they were mostly guys, behind him at the outside the courthouse on Tuesday. That was ridiculous. I think they all wore the same suit. They all looked the same. Silly. I got them all listed here, and I wanted to pull cards for each of them to see which one he will pick. Doug Burgum was the one. I think he's Nebraska, and I like him the most personally as the most. He seems like a decent enough guy. And I think though he's quieter, so he can lay in the background. He's also a businessman. He's also wealthy. And I think Trump likes that about him. But I don't know if, I think Trump needs or wants, I shouldn't say needs because he's going to do what he wants. I feel like he wants a beautiful woman that has money. That's the first feeling I get. I feel like he wants a pretty woman that has money, that will lay back a little bit. So that's a fine tune. And I don't know who that is exactly, but I did go through each of these cards. So Doug Burgum, who, like I said, I like, I think it might be this one. Knight of Pentacles, slow moving. Oh, Knight of Cups, Seven of Swords. So choices. Six of Cups. You know what? That's a possibility. I think today it's a possibility. Doug Burgum, Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's a Leo, and Trump has a Leo ascendant and Gemini sun, and he doesn't want to compete with that shining. So, oh my goodness. So Three of Cups. Okay, I got this yesterday. Let me share this with you. I got it yesterday when it was about the trial. I know I'm going to flip back a second. Do you see, this normally is about celebrating with your friends, and they, it's joyful and you're chatting and everything, but there's also these hoops. And yesterday I got this card when I was talking about his trial, and I see these hoops as more of an entanglement. They're intertwined, like he can't get out of it. And that's when I was referring to him being found guilty. I think this is going to keep him entwined. But do you see this one on the back? I feel like she can leave easy. And I think it's going to be like that, where he's going to get a mild restriction, something, because I think they have to be very careful, or Michonne's going to be very careful. So anyway, side note. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's a Leo, and I think he's too outgoing for Trump. He has a lot of money, and he's very business, and he's very vocal, and I think Trump loves that. I just don't think he'll be a good VP. I think they would butt heads. He might be in his cabinet or something, but I don't think he'll be a VP. Byron Donalds, he is from Florida. I think I don't know if he's a senator or a congressman. He's the other Black person to be a possibility. Tim Scott from South Carolina is the other one. Byron Donalds, I don't know anything about him. I think when I looked him up, he was a Scorpio. Could be wrong. Yeah, he is. So it might be okay because of his, but Scorpio and Leo are squared, and Scorpios and Geminis are, but he might just stay in the background and be a strength in the background. Page of Wands. So we got Byron Daniels, Hermit, Ace of Cups. I think he wants to be King of Pentacles. King of Wands. That might be a possibility. Byron Donalds. Donalds, yeah. And he's Florida. So that would help him. And I just don't know anything about that guy. If he's, going to be helpful for Trump or not. Okay, I'm just going to do all these and I'll come up with a final kind of, I think. Rick Scott, I think, has a good possibility. He's quiet enough, and he is a supporter, and he's always been there. He's not the nicest looking guy, but I think he's a good possibility. J.D. Vance, no. I think he's another too vocal person, and he's been wishy-washy on Trump in the past. I know right now he's pro-Trump, but in the past. Tim Scott, I don't think Trump will pick him. Although he's been like a puppy dog following him around, I don't think he'll pick him. Byron Donalds, Doug Burgum, or a woman. Those are my... Oh, wait. No. I'm sorry. Byron Donalds, Rick Scott, or a woman. Those are my top, I think. A woman. No, I really feel he wants to have a woman by his side, somebody attractive. Not Carrie Lake, of course, because she's running for Senate, and I don't think she'll win. And the other one, Christy Nome, she was a good one in the running, but now that she wrote that stuff in her book about killing dogs and how it kind of blew up in her face a little bit. Not everybody disagrees with her, but I thought there would be more of a solution to that problem, but or she didn't have to talk about it in her book. Anyway, so I'm gonna say I mean, what do I know? I just think that it's gonna be maybe somebody of color or a woman, and I think those would be. Let's see, but I don't know who this woman would be. Woman, Trump's VP. I don't think we know her yet. She isn't around yet. It's slow coming, and she's not. Possibly he could pick a child or somebody much younger. Yeah, he's still deciding. But most of these cards are women, so I can't say it's because they're women, but he's really looking backwards. Somebody, like he had Elaine Chao in his cabinet and Betsy DeVos in his cabinet, and somebody like that. Yeah, somebody like that has money, but isn't too well known, that could bring in votes from another state that he needs. I'm sorry, that's pretty vague. All right, so debate. I immediately think I don't see how it's going to work out. I felt like nothing's decided. I was quickly watching CNN last night briefly, and they said, oh, it's going to be on CNN on June 27th and then on ABC on the September whatever. And I'm like, I don't feel that it's going to happen. I think there's way too many things up in the air yet. Even though Trump says, oh yeah, I just feel like it's not nailed down. I just feel like when I look at a timeline, I see months ahead of me, and I see it like up here. It's still in the ethernets. It's not decided because I think there's too many possibilities, and Trump likes to, say he's going to do anything and I can do this and you're, whatever, but I don't think his people are probably going to really, I don't think he's going to commit to it, even though he says he will, and he wants it on Fox, and he wants these people to moderate it, like Brett Baer or something. But I think it'll be like, we can't agree on the terms. I'm ready to go, but he won't agree to my terms, and he won't agree to my terms. So, yeah. And I think Biden wants the microphones to be able to be cut off if you're going over your time, which is not that bad of a thing. Yeah, I don't think if they do, it'll be one later, like September, not in June. I don't see how June will work. Because, too, I think this court thing, not that it'll still be going on, but something with that is still going to be, maybe you'll have that restriction. Oh, somebody, Francisco Reyes, who's one of my viewers, asked questions. He asked a question, the current state of mankind. What do I see as the dessert for the current state of mankind? The first thing I thought of was a buffet because, of course, we can't be one dessert. I see a white table and, oh, that's interesting. It's all like on the white table, it's my left. I see it's full over here of lots of lovely, like really high-end desserts. So I see like something with pastry layers and chocolates and cream puffs and like you're at a party. That's the feeling I get. I'm at a large party and there's the dessert table and the current state of mankind. Well, and then I've got this area all over here that's nearly empty. Everything is to the left. All these desserts, and there are a lot of chocolatey, creamy things. Not too much fruit, which is interesting. Maybe that's where my mind goes. See this tablecloth, and it's a nice white linen tablecloth, but it's kind of empty. It has this right here, a circle, which there's a couple little things. So what does that mean? Or the disconnect? But it's not like I see gross desserts over here, or gross situations there. It's just empty, and it's nice and clean. Is that the future where there's nothing? That sounds scary. No, because it doesn't feel like it's not burnt or destroyed. Just it was empty. Okay, so I had to meditate on that image of the tablecloth, and I tried to sort through it and see what it meant. And I was breaking it down. I channeled a little bit, and I also wrote that down. So how I looked at it was I still see the tablecloth, and I had this is white on one side and really messy, and the desserts are piled high on the other side and glossy and chocolate. And what I kept coming to mind was the population in Europe, and I saw the Silk Road across the bottom into Asia, and then the white of the tablecloth was the Russia, kind of empty space. So I thought, well, is it population and the density there? That was a thought, and because that kept coming to mind. And then is it half the world is starving and the other half has everything? Is that it? But I when I asked, there's not going to be like a big kaboom and it's all over. It just felt like it was is it the haves and the have-nots? And that was what got me going. And so then I broke it down into different states, like mentally. Is it mentally, what is the current state of mankind? And I saw immediately all the desserts were gone, and it was all this cinnamon, orangey edges. The desserts were gone. And it's funny though, this tablecloth is still white, and those desserts are still over here. Part of it where it felt like angry and agitated and focused on things doesn't come up over on my calmer side over here. And I asked about emotions, the emotional state of current mankind, or the current emotional state of mankind, and then immediately saw the table melting, not the table, but the desserts, everything kind of pouring off the edge. This side did go as well, but there's not as much there, so there's not as much weeping or emotional state. Here is just really, really not good. So there's a charged emotional state right now. Not good. And then I asked about practical versions of the current state of mankind. Practically, what is this all meaning? And I got where the desserts were divided into their sections, where the chocolate desserts were over here and the custard desserts were over there, and the fluffy ones with maybe some fruit inside were over here. And they were all segmented. It could meant country borders, or it could meant types of mentalities or types of races or something like that. But over here, nothing. It really wasn't anything, because there's not enough desserts to divide up. There's not that much. And then I looked into the spiritual part of it. And so when I asked about spirituality or spiritual angle, what I got was, yes, it is the wealth, the abundance, the people who have everything. And I know that's a practical version, but it's also a feeling, a sense spiritually that there's so much for one group of people, and the other half feel like they have to fight for what they are getting. But the weird thing is they weren't feeling angry about it. They were just living. They were just living their lives, enjoying what they have, very grateful, blessed for what they did have. And it was calm over there. It wasn't the crazy like it is over here with the abundance and the nuttiness. So spiritually, and then I asked about, so the global, I said, well, it's not just about the US or Europe or whatever. And so I said globally, and I immediately saw the earth and this tablecloth getting wrapped around it, both four corners tied up in a knot. You know how you do when you're and this ball, the earth is inside. And then I realized, oh, it's getting like smeared all inside. So it is getting divided or equalized inside, where all these different desserts are getting moved around. They're not very tidy, but that's what's happening, and spread around equally all over the globe. So I did feel that that was going to happen. Equality was coming, but slowly, slowly. I think there will be a time when there'll be a big drop in something, but not right away or anything. So humanity will there'll be more forward thinking, focus on humanity because of that Pluto and Aquarius. So I did channel a bit, and I got, we are all one, time from Spirit. We are all one. Time is changing to what we can do for one another. Some disasters are going to happen, because that's one of the questions I had was, this is going to be a blow up over here, big disaster? No, but it's not the reason. But there are always going to be disasters, but that's not the reason. We're clearing out the old, wet, messy, uneaten desserts, because the sense that I got was kind of gluttony over here, that there's so much, it's piled up. The stuff on the bottom isn't even getting eaten, and it's rotting and decaying underneath. On the top, it looks all shiny and pretty, but there's lots of stuff underneath that is being wasted. So that's the feeling I got too, is that's going to be wiped away to some degree. And then the energy was one of equality. And I didn't see all these desserts on the other side, but I did see this cleaned out. So it was a little bit more equal and focused on one, us all as one, not haves and have-nots. Current state of mankind. Thank you for sticking with. I thank you very much for coming by. I love that you are here. And until next time, take care.